whether you play sports or not, whether you even like anime or not, which I don't know why you even on this channel in the first place, sports anime and manga exist. And there are multiple tiers of them. There are sports anime and manga that are specifically for satirical purposes, such as Keijo, which is like a sports bus swimsuit college athletic adventure. And you got other shows that are more legitimate in the whole chronicle of sports actualization, such as Slam Dunk, Blue Lock, Hajime no Ippo, etc., etc. Now, when it comes to these, the question that comes to his mind is, do I have to enjoy sports to even like them? And on top of that, do I even want to be involved with the sport that is talking about? Like, for example, Diamond no Ace. I have never played baseball. I never watched it. The closest I ever got to watching playing baseball was kickball, which, you know, not even similar, right? It was Diamond no Ace I watched. I'm like, oh my God, I know nothing about baseball, but the downside that Shonen has when it gives you like a master tutorial on their power system, like every like 2 episodes and a 30-second preview of the last 10 seconds that happened, it's helpful in sports because if you don't know anything about them, they'll just teach you everything. Right off the bat, right off the rip, you know? I feel like a lot of sports, anime, and manga in general, it can translate directly easier to the animated format because, like I mentioned before, it's a lot easier to just consume the content as if you were just doing like an intro to etc. sport here. And the storylines aren't really that bad. I would argue even Kuroko no Basket, which is probably like one of the more like shonen-esque, like Blue Lock adjacent sports anime where just like everyone has a superpower, is still a compelling story narrative to follow along if you were to go through it. Now, that all being said, I decided to read 3 manga. They're sports manga. They're relatively newer to me because I never read them. And I've been off sports manga for a long time. And I wanted to see, you know, if the new torch that has been passed on from the Slam Dunks, from the Hajime no Ippos, I wanted to see what it's all about. And here we are. So the 3 I'm reading today are Irregulars, Isekai Catfight from Out of the Pro Wrestler, and Iron Dawn Quizite. Now, the Isekai Catfight from Out of the Pro Wrestler, as you can see, isn't really a sports anime per se. I would say it's more of an isekai that has wrestling RPG elements involved, but it still technically counts as a sports because it's wrestling with superpowers. Like, this chick has like a golden ACL. Like, and definitely let me know what you guys think about this whole fiasco. All right, if you're watching this, then I've decided to record my live reaction alongside of the holistic overall video. All right, let's see what we got here. Oh man, Isekai Catfight. You know, this is a perfect segue from like what I normally do on my review channel anyway, so it's not that big of a leap of faith, but it's definitely something for sure. All right, without further ado, let's shine on her. So is her knee, does she have like god tier ACLs? Man, I wish Kawhi Leonard, Klay Thompson, and Derrick Rose had her ACLs. Did Brandon Roy hurt his ACL? Whatever. I wish these motherfuckers had her ACL, because apparently like this shit's like gleaming with hope or something. Oh, I do think of it interesting. The idol culture is like, the idol culture is basically the personification of parasociality to the highest degree. Like, if your idol isn't exactly how you see them on a picture or on a video in person, then they're flawed talent-wise. For some, it's a very skewed way of looking at another human being. It's interesting, you know, given that her archetype in the manga is a tournament-style brawler against multiple people, multiple superpowers as well. Is very interesting. So I'm trying to imagine, like, what was this like for regular American stars? Even like rappers, for example. They pull up to the show's fan club all geared up like this, and it's actually a good thing. That's crazy. I'm thinking like, I'm trying to think of like artists that people be massive fans of on this degree. The only thing that comes to my mind is just mental illness. So that's funny to me. Relatable content, right? Fellows who work job, which is every person watching this video. This pick goes hard, despite how like big her fucking eyes are. It goes hard as hell. Oh, she dies. Wait a minute. What? Are they on the road or something? Why does a vehicle get... Also, what happened here? Why would the vehicle's wheel detach and it cause it to rear off the street right into her directly? We look at this angle, there's nothing here. I don't understand. What road are they on? All I can think of is like it's coming from this side. But if that's the case, then where are the other idols? Did they run out in time? Where's that frame at? That frame's above them. So this is right. This is coming from this angle right here. So POV, you're the truck about to kill this idol. Where is this coming from then? Oh, I don't care that much. I'll be honest. Okay. So that's the end of that idol manga. What do I think about that overall? Well, there isn't that much to glean from this. The only thing I got from her character is that she's a hard worker. She's really clumsy. Just relentlessly on the grind. I assume she has no relationship, girlfriend, boyfriend whatsoever. I assume her parents are either dead or just non-existent. And I assume she's going to go into another planet since this is an isekai genre. A lot of assumptions here. The problem with this as well is like it isn't long enough for me to get fully invested into. I feel like I got a sample, right? Like I feel like this character development was rushed right after she died. So like mentioning, oh, by the way, she became an idol because she was watching other people become idols, you know? And also it led us to believe that she wasn't even that good of an idol in the first place. So for her to have this dream and then get ridiculed for not being as good and just being clumsy, and then her clumsiness comes from the fact that she's tired from working 3 jobs at a time. And then on top of that, her overall appearance from her clumsiness and from working her 3 jobs over time are being massively criticized, ridiculed. It just seems like we're supposed to build a character out of what everyone else thinks of her, or instead of what the author is directly telling us to think of her as a character. So I do want to see a second chapter, see how they take her death, but it doesn't seem that interesting overall. I wouldn't recommend this whatsoever. They put all the budget into this image. I want to add a bit more on top for Isekai Catfight from what I just showed you here. So with Isekai Catfight, as I mentioned before, it was kind of disappointing. It wasn't necessarily as fulfilling as I thought it was going to be originally. Which, let's be honest, if the budget is based off of the punchline of being, ooh, look at you, you're so evocative, you get the people going, blah, blah, blah. If that's a whole zeitgeist there, then of course you're not going to be focusing on the narrative building, because the whole point is just to get oiled, voluptuous, voluminous women fighting each other for people's entertainment of different races and breeds, like they're showing here. Like it feels like I'm watching like a Skyrim Bethesda fight, and all the other races like the orcs and the elves and the night elves, dark elves, whatever, just watching it all happen and unfold. And I feel like that is where the main core of the story is at, instead of all this build up, which is probably why it falls so flat, because they're heavily investing into the peak of the story and also the fan service as well. So that would probably not necessarily give an excuse, but it would explain so much as to why it just feels so. I guess I could have just scrolled down one fucking page and see the author of Fist of the North Star made this manga. Wow. Ooh, so dynamic, so involved. Am I biased? 1,000%. It's just Ken. It's just Ken. Like deadass. It's just fucking Ken. This is what Ken Sure was doing in his teenage years in the alternate universe, basically. You get kidnapped? What the hell happened? Ooh. Did he kill them? Or is that dirt? It looks like blood. So the main character just disappeared suddenly after winning like 3 races in a row? What the hell happened? Oh, there he is. What's his name again? Kuroso. Ooh. Within just 5 years, typo, he has built an impenetrable stronghold. Man, this looks so beautiful. Again, I'm biased. I love Sito so much. Kuroso! Okay. What is this fucking... This is the CEO of like a motorcycle sports team that sometimes gets a bit rough and rowdy, but it's a sports team. Why is he a fucking gang mob boss? He looks like Clark Kent, aged 20 years, and deals heroin. What is this? Ooh, that's hard. Okay. Let me take the scroll menu off the side of here. Gotta be professional. Kenshiro! You know what? That was the end of that manga. The best way to describe this is this page alone. Okay. I liked it. You know? Coming from that idol manga I just read, and how that idol manga basically didn't give me enough to chew on, this, I feel like this did pretty decent. Now, again, of course, I do believe the first chapter should be like longer than 30, 40, 50 pages, just so you can get a good grasp of everything. These shorter first chapter pages for new manga are interesting because it allows me to understand everything quickly, grasp everything quickly, but also it leaves me with like an appetizer sort of feeling. So what do I feel about this? Well, what I feel about Iron Dawn Quisite is that this is a rough, gritty, grindy motorcycle anime, but I have a feeling this is going to involve a lot of people getting murdered on the track. Now, we didn't see that in the very first race that Kuroso was in, because I assume he was just so good we couldn't even get into any of the details. Now, but then again, if they do mention or show that there's like power scaling or power leveling of any sort, and people get murdered and killed with motorcycle superpowers, whatever, or they're like innately like super superfluous beings with extraterrestrial powers, we missed out on the first chapter. So I do hope that if this does stay realistic, it keeps this sort of mystique about it. But they're mentioning how it's violent, so I don't think it's gonna be like that entirely. So therefore, I'm expecting some voodoo magic to happen. Overall, I want to know more about Kuroso. I want to know more about the businessman. Looks like a heroin addict, pimp. Heroin dealer, pimp, human trafficker. I want to learn more about why this motorcycling event is such a nationwide like phenomenon. Like why people so grasp onto it. Like I get motorcycles are like popular now, but like this seems like it's like a nationwide, global, international sort of phenomenon. Like this people are just gravitated to. I want to know more about that for sure, 100%. I want to know more about Kuroso. It seems like him being mysterious, quiet, and overall just a phenomenal. I keep saying phenomenal so much. Overall, just an outstanding being. He seems etched in his character. A very reserved guy, but at the same time, when he needs to turn up, he will turn up on a dime. You know, he's just like me for real. Overall, I would say definitely wait for this one or read the chapter if you want to. You know, it seemed like an interesting thing to get hopped on, especially since it's the author, Fifth North Star. I mean, I know we've seen Naruto's author make a spin-off manga and it kind of didn't go as well. What's the name of the manga? Hold on, let me see. Not Boruto, some of the other ones. Samurai 8. There we go. Yeah, he made the manga called Samurai 8, which according to Twitter heads, Reddit heads, and like actual manga nerds at the time, just was not that poppin'. And the last volume was made in February 2nd, 2021. Rebecca Silverman of MA News Network ranked the first volume as a B minus. The first volume. This is like coming off of, again, Naruto being one of the most prolific animes of all time. And, you know, Boruto just existing. What's the point of like bringing this up? Well, my point of bringing this up is basically to say that there's a chance that this motorcycle manga that I just picked up, deep cut lore, I'll make a little, it could end up in a sort of Samurai 8's fiasco where it's just okay and it'll be forever overshadowed by the previous author's prolific works, which in this case is Fist of the North Star, one of the most influential anime of all time, you know. So yeah, I am holding out and hoping this turns out pretty good. I think it will. The bias aside from this being from Tetsuo, you know, one of the greatest manga, one of the most influential manga of all time, obviously, I will say, the trope of the quiet, silent, prodigious new rookie on the scene that's just blowing the competition out of the water, it isn't a new concept, especially for sports related storylines for anime. However, it is one where the main character himself isn't directly acknowledging it, but instead is more along the lines of like, yeah, I know I'm good. However, I can be better. I have to strive for more. And I have a feeling that he's either has like some distant relative, a father, a brother, a sister, a mother, an uncle, an aunt, who was like the greatest of all time. Sort of like a Baki the Grappler situation, right? Where like, yes, this prospect is like one of the greatest high potential ceilings of all time, but their predecessor was literally the progenitor of the entire sport. I feel like it's going to happen here. If it doesn't, then horrible prediction. But I feel like that's going to be the case because they don't explain why he disappeared for as long as he did. They also don't explain any of his lore. And massive spoiler for any trope on any anime related to shonen, seinen, whatsoever. If they don't mention the parents or any relative familial ties to the main character or the main character's cast, then that means they are having elite ties. Like a great example that comes to mind is Yusuke Urameshi. They don't mention that much of his ties outside of his mother because, lo and behold, his dad was like 18 lines down the line, was a demon or some shit, and that enabled him to activate the demon powers at the end of the arc where, yeah, when he fought Sensui. It is massive spoiler for Yu Yu Hakusho, by the way, but by the time you even get to that show, you won't even remember what I'm saying. Unless you actually got this far into the show and then remember what I was saying, then long story short, as supposed to be justified out of nowhere if they're not explained away through familiar ties that have yet to be revealed when said Aspo needs to happen. Like, for example, I guess in this instance, this is like a motorcycle sort of supernatural quasi story going on here. I feel like one thing would be like his ability to recover or heal from any injury, or his ability to, you know, have infinite endurance or stamina, or his ability to like just breathe fire or breathe underwater, or just, I'm trying to think of like powers related to sports that are tied to like vehicle competition. Like, for example, if you were doing NASCAR, you would need to be able to be used to high temperatures, hot temperatures, because you're in a hot, because you're basically in a tin box going like 300 miles per hour. Not literally, but like, you know what I'm saying, going really fast. I'm on a track that's like always blazing on. It's going to be turned on at the right time, so you got to get used to the heat. All right, so like that type of stuff. It's obviously going to be a bit more convoluted than that, but I can't think of like the power scaling in this specific motorcycle anime, which would probably be the only downside. Is I didn't see any like the hype Omeomo Shinderu moments that was in Fist of North Star, so I don't know what to expect here. But at the same time, it does give me some more hope that this could be a new change of pace. More along the lines of like, I want to see more, instead of with Isekai Catfight, where it's like, okay, this is as much as I'm going to see. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's like, while both stories have left me with not much information, one story gave me enough to crave, and the other one gave me, well, not enough to be invested into the story. Irregulars, to me, I actually liked. I read the whole part 1, part 2, part 3 of the first chapter, which is 60 pages, like I was predicting a first chapter should be. And overall, my take on it would be, well, basically, imagine Tokyo Revengers meets Kuroko no Basket, I guess, would be the best way to explain this. Because there's a lot of delinquent gang violence aspect going on there. A lot of comedy on the Kuroko no Basket side. But at the same time, I'm assuming a lot of these dudes have like elite superpowers. There was a scene in the manga where our main character here, Hibino, was about to get a cigarette ashed out in his eyeball. And then one of the delinquents, whose name was Shotaro Kagari, threw the baseball so fast that it stopped our main character Hibino here from getting a cigarette ash done in his eyeball. Now, again, I criticized it, and when I was reading the manga, obviously I was reading it live while I was trying to like, you know, do research about it. But the funny part about it was he did it so fast that it had to be like a Diavolo King Crimson time suspension moment where he framed perfectly threw the ball at the exact moment the cigarette's gonna be ashed, and then knocked it out of the gangster's hand. Who the gangster's going to be on the team of both Hibino, and Kaguri, because, well, they also love baseball. And they're gang members at the same time. So it's like, yeah, and they're all like 16, 15 years old, which, you know, it's phenomenal, you know. I do love when Japan can't make its mind up with, you know, trying to paint characters or draw characters to the age that they are representing, you know? It's like, hey, you have a girl that looks like she's 9 years old. How old is she? 3,000 years old. You have a grown ass man and a grown ass woman over here. They both look 30. How old are they? 16. Sounds good to me. Serialize it, get merchandise, and get that thing to Crunchyroll right now. Like I don't understand this. It does allow us to think of potential clash that could be going on, the amount of team bonding that they have to do. They don't even like each other as a people. So imagine trying to have them on a team together, which, you know, if you watch any sports whatsoever, winning games is understanding communication through adversity, whether that be in the game or in real life. If, for example, it's like intensive pressure game and you can't talk to your teammate regularly, because if you do, then that means you'll be less attentive to what's actually going on because it's such a close game. You have to do like body language cues, or like secret signs, or even hell, just intuitively do whatever you want, and hopefully your teammates pick up on what that means. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like all this stuff that they have to pick up on, and it's like, man, the potential to see them potentially fall over or become the greatest mishmash fantasy draft serpentine pick team in existence is amazing, you know? And yeah, you know, so yeah, wow. I'm not going on that deep, but yeah, that's interesting. All right. So we got nerd, misunderstood, scary, quiet guy. All right, this is definitely the main character. Like, he has to be. He's the only one that has like circular round eyes that are supposed to be like relatable and understanding. That isn't like just directly feminine like his. Oh, he's a little happy-go-lucky, can never be let down. He's literally like Hinata from Haiku. Oh, he's gonna get the team together. Oh, it's so cute. What's the name? Before Haiku, there was the team captain for that pros volleyball team. Wasn't total? Yes, for Hinata, it was Daichi. Daichi's like, yay, woo, 100%, let's go, pog, pog, pog. And then before him, in Kuroko no Basket, believe it or not, one of the characters being like the main fire starters, the morale boosters, and overall like the glue of the entire team. And the whole team's like, hey, bro, the sport's dead. We're about to graduate in like a year or two. Like, why are we wasting our time here? What the hell? He's like, you don't love it? The fun of the game? The hustle? You don't love the grind? You don't love sweating until you can't breathe? Like, it's like, that drive is insane. You know, it makes you want to, like, you know, get up and run a mile, which I can't do because my knees will start disintegrating. But, you know, it's inspiring, to say the least. This is just Futura from Bleach. I'm looking at Bleach characters and like, why did they mess up my hairline so bad? What is this, man? Why is the hairline so bad? Like, this and Vegeta are like the worst hairlines in anime history. I get it, it's because you want to like emphasize his tattoos he has up here, but like, can you please give him a better hairline than this? This isn't even a hairline, is it? This isn't a hairline. It just isn't. I feel like he just cut his hair this way. So I'm getting the impression that first chapter manga aren't just as long as I thought they were. Maybe when I read it like in Shonen Jump, like other manga, I guess, like the first chapter was like, oh, it's 40, 50 pages. Okay, this one's like 20 or 30. I didn't read the exact amount. I guess I can check like the exact amount. You get 20 pages, yeah. So, what do I think about this one? As I mentioned before, I absolutely like adore, love, just cherish whenever sports manga rely on their one trope that is just the all reliable. It's like whipping out the whole arc of like, my parents are dead and yet here I am fighting trope in shonen and sanin in every single fighting anime. You got that in sports where the parents aren't dead, but it's more along the line of like, there is a player who is average at best but is so obsessed with the game that his work ethic is enough to compete with professionals, right? And so that puts him at slightly above average. Now, I remember hearing like a meme or like a trend where it's like, what would you rather have? Steph Curry shooting, LeBron James finishing, Magic Johnson's passing, or Kobe Bryant's mentality? And then someone said, why the hell would I have Kobe Bryant's mentality? I'm just an average dude. I would just basically be PJ Tucker all time for his cardio. But it's phenomenal, right? Like, basically, like, imagine you at any hobby, activity, job, whatever, and you just had the work ethic of, I love it so much, it's the only thing I think about whatsoever. You would not only stop at nothing to get better at it, but you would also go above and beyond even your own means because you know your obsession and love and passion with whatever the hell you're doing will supersede all of that and break your limits regardless. And you'll become better through that. And therefore, on top of that, you will enjoy it even more because you did get better, right? It is a very wonderful phenomenon to tap in. I keep saying phenomenon this entire segment. I don't know why. Here we are. Very thing that exists. But overall, what do I think about this? Well, Domino Ace exists. I haven't watched Domino Ace in quite some time, but Domino Ace has given me some vibes to this, mainly because it's also baseball anime, sports anime, and also on top of that, haiku is very important to this as well. And surprisingly, if I think of it correctly, is it Slam Dunk or Kuroko no Basket? There's another one where basically a decent chunk of the team got suspended for an entire year, and in their second year, they didn't want to join the club anymore for basketball because they all got suspended. What anime was that? It was like a sports anime. It's about basketball. It had like a Japanese rap to it. I was talking to someone about it like not too long ago. I gotta find it now before it actually like escapes. You don't stop. You don't stop. You don't stop. Yeah, yeah. Hoop Days. Oh, it was called Hoop Days. No, I don't think it was the one storyline I'm mentioning exactly. But I do know Hoop Days basically takes this prolific elite player from middle school who was a part of like the best middle school team of all time, but they just won every single title. And then he was supposed to graduate into their affiliate school or school heavily affiliated with them. And he just disappeared off the planet of the earth. He left his parents' house, who bred him to be a perfect basketball player, moved in like with his sister, and then joined this like rinky dinky garbage team who got suspended for like half the year basically for doing criminal Irregulars. Irregulars. Remember, like the description, it goes as follows. Which holy this anime is so amazing. Hoop Day is so amazing. I might do like an entire like synopsis of Hoop Day alone. Long story short, Hoop Day is amazing because it took like these 5 rinky dinky whatever players and then made them like play in the tournament of like all American, all McDonald's players whatsoever. I do like it, however. I do find it funny how the entire site itself rates Hoop Days at 6.7 out of 10 with 10,000 reviews, but people who watch the anime on the site itself gave it an 8.5 out of 3, 8.5 out of 10 out of 83 reviews. Now it's 83 to 10,000. I should trust the 10,000, but I like the show, so I give it 83. Whatever. Almost for short, I love this. It's very cool, very wholesome. It seems like it's going to be one where all the characters I saw at the very top, right here, they're all going to be involved. They're all going to be very into the job. We have these 3 characters so far. And as obviously as I mentioned, this is literally the main character. I mean, he's not only is the closest one here, but he's the only one with like the oogly boogly. I have very innocent ooh eyes, but if things get serious, I'll turn into a demon, right? Like that's how it always is. Like you got Midoriya over there in My Hero Academia. He turns into what? What's the opposite of mid? Max Oria, Amazing Oria. I don't know. It looks nice though. I will say this is definitely want to invest more. I'm definitely more interested in this one than the what was the first model chick? What was the one called? Isekai Catfight from I'm more interested in the Irregulars than Isekai Catfight from Idol to Super Wrestler, whatever. Because I feel something. There's a character arc from here. Like while this is a trope of, hey, I suck at the sport I love playing, but because I love it so much, I actually have a higher talent threshold. My potential is much higher because of my work ethic, you know. Overall, this is giving me wonderful investment vibes. And wait a minute, this isn't even a full chapter. I just remembered. This is point 1. Oh my god, I can read more. Thank God. Wow. Hey, isn't this like literally half the cast on the main page? Oh my god, it's Kuwabara. Dude, I love this croissant roll hairstyle. It makes no sense whatsoever, but it's just so far to look at. I knew it. He only talks in bubble pop. I love it. What is this? Tokyo Revengers? Motherfuckers gonna be like, I'm 14. Takes a drag on a cigarette. Wow, he's gonna take a cigarette. What's it called? Cigarette burn? What's it called when you put out your cigarette? It's like a cigarette sizzle to the eyeball. It's amazing. Okay, can I talk about, like, if we're doing realism here, there is no possible way this happens and his eye isn't affected. Look how close it is on this angle. So you're telling me it went this way straight through, or did it hit his hand? But even if it hit his hand, if it's this close, it's still gonna like go up here and hit his eye still, because it's this close. Like it's like right, almost breaking the barrier, shooting your pupil and retinas from the world. Whatever. It's sports anime. Kaguri! Strongest in terms of ability. What is this? What are you talking about ability? You mean fighting? Like fist fighting? Oh, let me get this straight. This bum Hoshino is going to recruit like the greatest middle school pitcher of all time. Are you kidding me? That's like that's like trying to form a fucking an NBA team from scratch, and you're like an expansion team, and your free agents include LeBron James, who didn't get drafted because he slept through the draft combine and didn't get scouted or some shit like that. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'll play basketball, sure. And then you have like one of the greatest basketball players of all time. It's just like, or Michael Jordan got cut from basketball team. You just doing like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? So you're telling me we're supposed to be rooting for this guy? He looks like he could be Gauro from One Punch Man. This is Gauro from One Punch Man. Wow. Fun fact. Foreshadowing is a narrative device. This motherfucker said, even so, I wonder if Kaguri-kun is safe after that. I don't really know why he helped me, but if I ever meet him again, I want to at least say thanks. Now, knowing this is anime, and like 95% of the jokes are, man, wouldn't it be awkward if I just stepped into a puddle of acid rain and turned me into a superhuman acid rain maker? Wouldn't that be weird? And then that just happens. So, yeah. Joint team? What could that possibly mean? He's definitely like Midoriya and Hinata combined. Like, what am I looking at right here? Look at this beady-eyed fellow. Just pure joy and innocence. And vitality. They're inside. I wonder who the joint team could be. There's so much hype behind it. It possibly couldn't be the guys from Joyce, the school that they're really against. There's one school that said don't ever be involved with because it's such a different lifestyle from them. The one school that are so criminal that they have gang members walking around on a daily basis like 7 feet tall, scaring people. Couldn't be them. Possibly, right? No way, no way, no way, no way. Oh, it's them. Oh, I said Kyoto. I meant Miyoko. My bad. Well, bye. See you later. Come on, hurry, get in. What did it say? In the past, a number of appearances of a joint team in Koishin. Ooh, so this is basically... So I was right then. This is like having an expansion team and picking up high school LeBron, high school Dwayne Wade, high school Chris Bosh, high school Carmelo Anthony, or high school Dwight Howard, high school Kevin Garnett, first year Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, and Steph Curry on the same team. What are we doing? What are we doing? And Chris Paul, what are we doing, man? What is this nonsense? What do I give this? I love it. I like it. I love it so much it actually made me want to go and read the other chapters. Which this is a healthy, and I do mean a healthy first chapter. 60 pages. It gets me introduced. It shows me how insane Kibito is. Or Hibino is, my bad. Shows me how insane the whole Maiko High School drama lore is. Because look at these guys. These guys are menacing. This nerd right here, this nerd threatened to extortion money out of our poor innocent Hibino boy here, who I assume has no parents. obviously, or his parents are just like what, concrete workers or something like that. I don't know, but this is I love it so much. And the croissant Kurobaro headwear Giorno JoJo Part 5 hat guy. He's here. Oh my god. And on top of that, they just said a joint team has never made it to the playoffs. So we're just gonna witness history. You know? Don't you want to get involved? Don't you want to get invested into this manga? It's about baseball. Batter up. Stuff in the trash, you know? Oh man. I like this. This is a decent blend of shonen and sports, so it's going to be heavily relying on tropes to push its narrative through. And if you don't like that overall, then I'll take hard skip this, because what are the tropes you've been saying? Oh, tropes such as when they're finally going to play one of the biggest games of all time, they all of a sudden have a fight, or two players have a fight, and they have to spend the entire episode making each other up. And then the entire next episode where they play the game together, they're like the best players on the team. Or you have the main character here realizing that his hard work ethic isn't going to be enough to get anywhere near the talent level of these guys. And so he either has to get better, or realize that him having a hard work ethic is enough to morally bolster these guys up to keep playing as a team. Or there's another trope for shonen where you have the other enemy team who is just as strong, prolific, and they're just meant to be the number one seed basically of the entire world, and they crush our boys here, but before the playoffs. So they meet them again in the playoffs and just have the best game of the series. It's just a lot of tropes like this. So if you're not really down for those tropes, go ahead, leave right now, you know. But I love them. I live for them. I thrive. They are in my veins, and they pump out every single time we do rep in the gym. It is phenomenal. What I give this? A solid 4. Solid 8 out of 10. I love it. I love it a lot. You know, it definitely made me want to read more. And I think I want to read more, especially after the series ends, the video ends, whatever. And I think, yeah, you know, overall, I do feel like, just like most anime or manga, it is worth getting involved if you suspend the cringiness you receive from the tropes that most animes and all animes fall into, right? If you can just circumnavigate all that stuff and trying to focus on like if you enjoy the story or not, and you do, then it's a really good story, right? And sports anime fits that to a T. Because even the cringy stuff, such as like the cheesy practice sessions turn like, oh, I work hard, I don't have any talent you have, or vice versa, or I may have all this talent, but I've never made it further than you have because you work so hard. That type of like, ooh, you're so good, but you don't know it, like self-humble brag, self-deprecatory messaging, whatever. If that gets you, then like you're not gonna make it any sports anime whatsoever. However, if you can get over that nonsense, it's pretty cool. If I were to rank these shows, I'll do this following, okay? So, Isekai Catfight, I only read the first chapter. I'm giving it a clean 4 out of 10. Why does this exist? It's not that bad because the fan service is serviceable, but it's not enough to get people interested in investing into it alone. Like, I would say unironically, this cover title is more erotic than the entire manga itself, so it says what it says there. Iron Dunkwizzy, I give it a 7 for now. I don't know what the hell's going on. I don't know what motorcycles have anything to do with superpowers whatsoever. I'm kind of scared what they're going to do with that. Is it going to be like JoJo's Part 7, where the stands are going to be heavily tied to them racing on horses in the desert, so it limits the amount of capabilities and freedom that the user has to fight the enemy because they're going to be fighting on a horse, which sounds like a good thing, but if you think about it, it just suspends any sort of potential benefit you could have from just not being on a horse to being on a horse. So you can't even think of like, oh, this guy's strong because he only beat him on a horse or on a motorcycle in this instance. So, you know, it could fall off flat. It could not. So I'm giving it a clean 7 because the mystique, the sort of newness, I guess, for lack of better words, is interesting to me, and I want to look more into it. And then Irregulars, I can't praise it enough. I'm giving it a solid 8.3 at the moment. The tropes are a bit heavy-handed for some instances, so I can't give it above an 8 for me right now, but that's pretty good. I would say it could potentially become a 9 for me somewhat in the near future, but I kind of know what's going to go on since I've watched Amino, since I've watched Kuroko no Basket, all these sports animes. What's basically going to happen is one of two things. Either they instantly win, become champions, and the story just ends there, which Omega Law I doubt. Or like I mentioned in my live reading through of it, they're going to face the toughest team of the nation lose to them in the regular season, somehow make the play-in playoffs whatsoever, face them, beat them, and then they're going to be fighting the champions for real. Like, it's be something like that. It's like, well, that's really cool. Or maybe they're going to fight the champions that they lost to in the regular season, or some practice mode whatsoever, you know what I'm saying? Because they're a ragtag team, and practice matches are going to be required for them to build up their repertoire and, you know, resume whatsoever. It is interesting. I will say the recipe is following a sort of haiku format, which I love a lot. I give haiku like a solid 8 as well. So this is like starting promising already off the bat. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this format entirely. It's something a bit new on my end. I have no idea what I guess I'll fully explain the shift in my content on my second channel if I remember to do so. But overall, so far, we're going to be sticking on this for a while until further notice. So